I hope everyone's doing well. Oops, I had the other page open there, so I had a bit of an echo there. It's so nice to see everybody. Yes, it's Christmas this weekend. Oh boy, I'm very excited. This probably will be the last stream before Christmas, but there will be streams between Christmas and New Year's. That's the crazy thing about having Christmas on Saturday and Sunday, because it's like having you have a regular week. So there will be videos going up though tomorrow and Friday. I'm going to do a major look at the television for the year tomorrow, like a big look at TV tomorrow, and then on Friday I'll have a Glass Onion spoiler review ready for you as soon as the movie goes up at 3 a.m. on Friday. Oh, Moro, congrats on your 1-month badge. It looks good on you. I love it. So, and yes, there will be lots of videos between Christmas and New Year's about, like a lot of roundups for the end of the year and stuff like that. I got my Megan, screening invite, and that embargo lifts on January 4th. So I'm very excited to see that. Hey, Voice Inject, we're going to talk about that. That's very nice. Rude Honey Badger, welcome back. All right, so let's get started. Hey, Tropical Biscuits, that's a great name. So the way these streams work, if you're not familiar with them, is that we'll go over these 3 stories. Try to please keep your comments to... I have to watch The Bad Batch. Thank you. Oh, my goodness. Let me put that down on my list. I also got Velma screeners, which I'm very excited about. That embargo lifts, I think, on the 5th. So I got to watch both those for review. Oh, Leah, look how generous for Christmas. That's so kind of you to gift 5 memberships. And I saw you guys talking about 80s Model, who's gifted a lot of memberships too, which I thought was very kind. Hey, Vitor, if you want to know when the Bad Batch embargo is, I'll tell you. Hold on. I think it's like the 2nd weekend of January. Yeah, here it is. The review embargo is, January 4th. I was best get on this. I got a lot of watching to do, but I want to watch Christmas stuff for now, and then like between Christmas and New Year's, I will be watching all this stuff. Hey, Enrique. And then Devin says, Jamie Lawson from The Woman King and Anya Shalotra as DCU Vixen and Hawkgirl would be cool. Also, what characters do you see James Gunn spotlighting in his rebooted DC franchise? Let's see. Let's see what he's going to do. I think he'll probably announce it early January, and he'll make another slow month, have a lot to discuss. Paul Porkchop says, please bundle up this weekend. Yes, everybody, it'll be ridiculously cold across most of the United States due to a horrible, they said, once-in-a-generation storm. It's going to be like the high is the 20s in New York City for Christmas, so just be really, really careful. I don't want anyone to get really sick. So be careful. All right, so... hey, Poke 185. Thank you, Junior. Let's get into the Dwayne Johnson story. That's a very kind thing for you to say, Junior 6288. David Crownson, I would be surprised if Nicholas Hoult was Superman. I think Nicholas Hoult has proven that he can't really bring in an audience. Like, if anyone's seeing the menu, it's for Anya Taylor-Joy. And he actually doesn't have a very big part in that, despite being featured prominently on the posters. All right, so let's get started. Hold on 1 second. Boop. All right, so full disclosure. Not only did I mention Dwayne Johnson's tweet yesterday, but he responded to me, which I was very, we've interacted a few times before on Twitter. That was such a pleasant surprise. It was very interesting. Sir Joel, I don't think that's a good choice. But anyway, he said, win some, lose some in his response to me. And some of you pointed out that I'd actually said that that's what he should say in my live stream. I don't know if Dwayne Johnson watches my videos or not. I've never spoken to him directly. We've interacted on social media. But and someone said it must be crazy. It's weird. I couldn't do this show if I was concerned about who might be watching it, right? So the only thing that I can do is be brutally honest rather than vindictive and always talk with love. I always feel that anyone can turn anything around. And so, I've always been a fan of Dwayne Johnson's movies. I just felt that he wasn't handling this situation well, which is why I was so happy to see him finally, make peace with it, which is what I felt he was doing. Because, I saw a couple of people trying to say he was angry and stuff like that. And it's like, why do that to Dwayne Johnson? And I felt this way before he tweeted me. And maybe because of some of the responses I gave out, maybe that's why he wrote back to me. I was really actually very flattered. He only wrote back to 2 people, which meant a lot. But, if someone's genuinely trying to turn the corner and let something go, why continue to make a thing about it? So I feel if Dwayne wants to move on, we should all move on. But after the stream, we're going to talk about it a little bit. But I am very grateful to the industry people who've reached out to me over the years, publicly and privately, and continue to do so. And I've actually made some very good friends through that. So, and it's, especially when you're reporting on something and the people you're reporting on reach out to you, it's a good sign that you're doing pretty good, So I really appreciated it, and I was so nice to all of you who also said something nice about it. I thought that was nice. All right, so, and of course I also interacted with, James Gunn, and I also had a little Twitter, again, about Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. All right, so anyway, let's talk about what's going on here. So Dwayne Johnson finally accepted reality, and he decided to take the "you're not fired, we might work together someday" option that James Gunn is offering to everybody. And I have to say, it's real nice of Gunn, at least for us in the press, to spread out these over multiple days instead of just doing it in one fell swoop, because it gives us multiple videos to make. He's like doing Godfather type sit downs. He's like, come, I'm going to make you an offer you can't refuse, and like, it is almost like, how could you refuse it? I mean, James Gunn doesn't want to fire anybody. And to be honest, nobody wants to be fired. So, but I mean, I don't know. It's, as I was saying yesterday, it's a little bit kumbaya heavy. And I think we all are like, we know what you're doing. Like, I don't think they're fooling anybody. Maybe with one person they would have fooled somebody, but everybody it's like participation trophies a little bit, right? And that's why I think, for instance, the Black Adam announcement, when Dwayne Johnson said, we're not moving forward for now, that's why it didn't even trend, because everybody was like, we all saw the writing on the wall a long time ago, man. I'm glad that you've also got on board. And it was also odd that Zachary Levi, I think it was also yesterday, was like, I'm not going anywhere. And everyone was like, you sure about that, Zach? Because it's like, why would everybody else go, but you would stay? It's like, I don't even know why Zachary Levi would even say anything. Because it just, again, it's like, why open yourself up to this embarrassment? If we're in a new age, and you really have to play not only offense, but defense. So think about that. I mean, I'd be like, Zachary Levi, if you don't move forward, everyone's going to come back to you with this tweet. So, very interesting. Let's see here. All right, so I think, let's see, I've got, my notes are a little out of order here. And so never say never. I mean, like someday Gunn or somebody who takes over from Gunn might decide to make a Secret Wars. So why wouldn't he, maybe bring back Black Adam or any of these characters? We thought the Fox X-Men were gone, and it sounds like I've heard they're coming back for Secret Wars, and probably a couple of them in Deadpool 3. So I think that, that all kind of, so I mean, I guess it's not a totally empty promise, but I feel like, come on. I think that's the other thing. I think we're living in a different age where the general public is more savvy. So they don't really fall for these snow jobs anymore. You're not like, oh, we're all best friends. And we're all like, are you though? Because, to be honest, Dwayne Johnson did say Black Adam 2 was definitely going to happen. He never congratulated James Gunn on the job. And he said some nice things about him here, but if they actually have known each other for such a long time, it makes it even weirder that he didn't say anything about when James Gunn got the gig. I mean, they were competing for the control of DC. And, I think that it finally became clear to Dwayne Johnson that he lost. And that's fine. Dwayne Johnson has won so many times that he can take a loss. The only thing that was making it a bad loss was Dwayne Johnson. So that's why I'm really glad that he's changed his approach and he can move on to other things. Now, speaking of moving on to other things, Here's what I think Dwayne Johnson which would benefit him. I think he has two choices. Like, he's kind of got a factory. You know, he mentioned $7, which is his production company. And he's really making a lot of stuff these days. And he's really churning out Dwayne Johnson movies. And I liked both Jumanjis quite a bit. I really liked Jungle Cruise. I thought that was fun. And I even enjoyed Red Notice, you know, his Netflix movie, which is, I think, still to date, the most watched ever on the service in the first 28 days. But I think he's a little overexposed, and he's doing it to himself, not only through his projects, but I also feel that social media, it's wonderful how connected he is with his fans, and he has some of the biggest social media followings of anybody. Anyone, any business. He is a juggernaut, but that also means he's part of people's daily life. And so it becomes harder to, you know, have people thirsty for more Dwayne when they get a sip every day. And then also, especially because he's serving the same thing every day and in every movie, you know, he just, everything that he does kind of hits the same notes. That's why that was one of the problems with Black Adam. That's why people were like, this seems more like a Dwayne Johnson movie, a cookie cutter Dwayne Johnson movie, which we're all very familiar with at this point because we eat a lot of them. You know, they're like Oreos. You know, it's like McDonald's, and there's nothing wrong with McDonald's and Oreos. They're very popular and staples for a reason. But, you know, you can't, you know, turn either of them into something else. You know, you can't be like, this isn't an Oreo. This is a gourmet cookie. And you're like, no, it's not. I'm looking right at it. You know, I know what an Oreo is because I consume, you know, you consume them. And so it's the same thing with, I think, Dwayne Johnson properties. So I would recommend that he take a break until Red One next Christmas. It's just a year off. He can focus on all the projects and all the things that he's selling. I mean, I always say you should diversify your portfolio, and Dwayne Johnson has an incredible portfolio. He even talked about one of his liquor brands in his tweet here. So, I mean, the guy has a lot of things that he could be working on. And so I think just give people a little bit of a break. He can take a little bit of a break because I think he did work himself into a frenzy over this. And you know what? I would maybe start making a Henry Cavill movie with him and Henry Cavill, and I would release that after Red One. I mean, Red One co-stars Chris Evans, Captain America, for Pete's sake. The Rock has a great future ahead of him. So I would take a little bit of a break. Then the other thing that he could do is be in a movie, star or supporting, where he doesn't produce it and step a little bit out of his comfort zone, because he looked really good as a superhero. As I tweeted back to him when he responded to me, I wrote him back. I love that he's Dwanta. It's one of my favorite things about him because I love Christmas too. But he was still The Rock. He wasn't Black Adam. And if he had had a director or a producer who had pushed him a little bit more and been like, Dwayne, you got it. I'm telling you, you need the ears, you need the hair. You're just going to have to do it. I think that maybe the movie would have turned out a little bit better. So I think he needs to get out of his comfort zone. He needs to get out of his echo chamber. And I think because he's a really big star and very personable, and we love Dwayne Johnson. But I think that, you know, a break or mix things up a little bit. Or you could do a little bit of both. You don't have to choose either road for sure. All right, so that's what I wanted to say on it. Let me look at your comments now. Sam Schugart says, if Reeves' Gotham isn't the Gotham for the new DCU, this is a massive misstep. I don't want Batman only fighting serial killers like the Nolan world. A freeze gun can exist, and so can Clayface. I agree. I'm a little nervous about how things are going to get sorted, especially because James Gunn recently tweeted that he would have his own Batman, and I was like, mistake. So let's just see. I don't want to condemn something before we've actually seen it. You know, again, I'm trying to stay positive here. Cole Jackson says, do you think James Gunn is trying to make Peacemaker Suicide Squad the Deadpool of his DC universe? He didn't. He said they weren't necessarily safe. So let's just see. Graham, I don't get your comment. Generation Marvel says, is the news of Gunn's plans for DC Elseworlds movies legit? I have not heard anything from my own sources, who I trust, about James Gunn's plans just yet. His new plans. Let's see. I would love Elseworlds stuff, but I got to tell you, I don't know if audiences can handle it. I think Marvel is even having a little bit of trouble with the multiverse outside of the Loki show, where that's the whole point of the show. So let's just see. Yeah, let's see. Alma Poe says, such a better response than James Gunn. I agree. And, you know, I think that Dwayne Johnson did point out that, you know, he did bring back Henry Cavill, and he did try his best, and he did deliver what you asked for. And he moved mountains to get back Henry Cavill. And I think that that is no small feat. As I told you, I told you that they didn't want Henry Cavill back. So I think that that's really commendable. And I think he should, you know, point out that feather in his cap. Sam says, casting an entire new Batman would divide the fan base again. It wouldn't be Elseworlds. It's set in modern day, unlike Joker or a Red Sun Superman. Sam, no, I agree. There shouldn't be two Batmen, as I believe. Let's see here. I'll make sure I get all these comments. Dancing Dog 60 gifted some memberships. That's so kind of you. Very kind of you, Dancing Dog 60. Michelle with no A says, I think Gunn could have saved face and allowed his rebooted franchise to be in theaters only, allow the DCEU to continue on the streaming service. I don't think that, I can see where you're coming from, but I don't think that they could do that. I think that would be prohibitively expensive because you would only want it in the highest of quality with lots of fighting, which is very expensive. And then also, again, you'd be dividing the fandom. You'd have people who prefer the DCEU stuff on streaming and then people who like the new stuff. Everybody's got to be on the same page, especially if you want box office numbers like Marvel. Even Marvel is hurting itself a little bit with so much Disney Plus content. Whelm says, Zachary Levi, along with everyone else, needs to humble themselves. His comment annoyed me. DC needs saving, and that means sacrificing actors that we liked. That's an interesting way to put it. I also would say, I don't think that the Shazam movies have really lit the world on fire, even though I liked the first one quite a bit. Glalie Masters says, the real question is, what role will James Gunn give his wife? Let's see. I think everyone's looking, and he better be, I think, obviously he's going to have to be very tread lightly. Sam Shugart says, Reeves doesn't have to oversee other heroes. That's Gunn's job. Fine directors. Pattinson doesn't have to cameo in Soup's movies, but after he does a few indie and serious movies, they can meet in a Justice League movie. I agree, Sam. That's exactly what I would do. Alwatch says, speaking of cookies, oatmeal cookies are terrible. Oh, I like oatmeal raisin cookies. Paul Brunel says he also has football with Danny Garcia, the XFL. And he's gotten more into wrestling, especially as Dwayne Johnson's daughter has gotten into wrestling professionally herself. And then Kara Stealth, welcome. Hey, Kara. And then Waffle. Oh, thank you, Waffles Daddy. No question. Just an honor of getting to watch my first live stream ever and to thank you for all the amazing content. Happy holidays to you too, Waffles Daddy. That's so kind of you. I'm glad you were able to join today as well. Hey, Greg Lazaro. Hey, Sebastian Rivera. And then Tayuka says, Cavill fans really being mean to The Rock, sadly. Really? Well, I think that Henry Cavill kind of has been damaged a lot by what happened. I think that him saying that he was back when he wasn't, no matter what he might say was his excuse, I think did hurt him a little bit. And I think, let's see what happens. I think that you don't want to have a situation develop where being a Henry Cavill fan is synonymous with being toxic. Norwegian Kryptonian, that's a funny name, says, in my opinion, if he keeps Gal, Zach, and Ezra, but got rid of Henry in bed, the internet will forever be against them. For sure. I mean, let's see what he decides to do. But I think that, if you're going to get rid of the big three, everybody's got to go. All right, so that's the first story of the day. And I think that, I think to some degree what James Gunn is doing is clearing the deck before Christmas and New Year's. So, hey, Eric, I think he has a little bit more of a difficult problem with the movies that haven't released yet because, they don't want to undercut them. Although, obviously, they cannot announce it, but I think they've already been undercut. Because you might be like, why hasn't he spoken to Ezra Miller? Although I think, going in a different direction when Ezra Miller is battling mental health issues would be difficult. Thanks, Max. I'm glad you like my pink t-shirt. Matthew says, why is Levi so confident his Shazam is safe? I don't know if it's necessarily confident, but I think what's going on is that Zachary Levi has a movie that's opening. And I think he's nervous that it won't do well now because now everybody's like, this stuff's dead. So why would we pay to see it in a theater when we can just wait for it eventually to trickle down to HBO Max at no extra cost, right? It took Black Adam about 2 months to get to HBO Max. That's not bad, right? So I think that he's nervous. So he's trying to be like, I'm still sticking around. Don't worry about me so that you go see his movie in theaters. And I can understand that. I can't imagine how frustrating it is for the talent and behind the scenes talent that are associated with these movies that have yet to come out. I mean, how about, just James Wan with Aquaman 2. I mean, he's a really big name talent, and he just basically seems to have wasted 2 to 3 or maybe even more years of his life. Look how long it's taken to make The Flash. They've been working on The Flash for years. It's ridiculous. Hey, Bradley. Corey, I like Zoe Deutsch, but I don't know if she's a big enough star. But although she might be at the level of the kind of person James Gunn could get right now, and she's very funny, very talented. I liked her, as you might recall, in Zombieland 2. All right, so that's the first story of the day. All right, second story of the day. All right. Boop. So usually I do movie reviews separately, as you know, but because it's the holiday season and my schedule's a little bit tight because I have a lot of family stuff going on this weekend, and also this is a very small film that isn't getting a lot of attention, so I didn't want to, I had to decide what was the best use of my time from a business perspective. But I didn't want to not review the movie because some people are interested in it and I wanted to have a discussion about it. Patrick, I'm glad and some people like the movie reviews during the live. So for smaller films, this is probably what I'm going to end up starting to do. And on a slower day, it fills a spot. Eric says DC should not have two Batman. I agree. I think if James Gunn creates his own Batman, it's going to be a big problem. Thanks, Kyle. All right, so let's talk about I Want to Dance with Somebody. All right, so those are some stills from the movie. I saw this. It's supposed to be an awards contender, but I don't think it is. I had a lovely time going to see this movie. I saw it at the Sony screening room here in New York City, which is quite small, actually, but it was lovely. It wasn't too crowded. And I thought Naomi Ackie did a very nice job as Whitney Houston. But I got to tell you, it seems very much like a television movie, especially in terms of scope. And just the cinematography. Like often when I was watching it, I felt like I was watching like an old Columbo movie, but it was instead the Whitney or Lifetime. So Horror Lifetime, it's not a spoiler review. Don't worry about it. This isn't a spoiler review. So I feel like that, Nacho, you remembered my Whitney Houston story. I did. So that was like a little bit of a problem. Like, even the stadium scene. So like some things seemed very small. Like, one of the things that I think made Bohemian Rhapsody such a big deal was that it did a wonderful job recreating the Live Aid concert. But here, a lot of the appearances by Whitney Houston seemed incredibly small. But yet I looked at the actual photos from the actual appearances in real life, and they actually did seem kind of small. So I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. Also, this is the downside of doing an entire life. I don't love biographies that only look at a certain time in a period, like a period or a couple of days in a person's life. But yet when you do cover so much ground, especially when the movie, I don't think the movie's particularly long. It's not inordinately long. Maybe it would have been better served as a series, a streaming series. But I felt like we glossed over stuff really quickly. Now, I did appreciate that the movie is extremely honest, especially for a movie produced by Whitney Houston's family. I thought it was going to be a real softball, but instead, they were unflinchingly honest about the struggles that Whitney Houston had, both personally and professionally. So I really appreciated that, and I think that they tried to paint them in the light of how Whitney Houston viewed them and why these things were able to happen to her. And so, in fact, I would actually strongly recommend this movie to anyone who is interested in being talent, because I think that it does a very good job of showing the pitfalls and the demands and how you have to really be a business person. You're going into the business of you. You're selling you. And so Whitney Houston, I think, I really gained even more respect for her. I mean, I knew she was very successful and had, of course, achieved a lot of records, made a lot of records and stuff like that. Not records, but, she'd broken a lot of records. And I think she still has more number ones than even Michael Jackson or something like that. That's incredible. So I was really impressed with that. And I think the movie also highlighted, though, that she was a trailblazer, not just for black singers, but also for women in business. And that's something that I think hasn't been discussed a lot. And also because of who she was because she was so successful, she got stuck in a bubble that successful people and famous people in particular so often do, and she was quite lonely. And that also was something that was a big contributor to her substance abuse issues. Now, something that they have not made very clear in the ad campaign, but something that is immediately addressed almost as soon as the movie starts and runs throughout, is that Whitney Houston was bisexual. I was not aware of that until I saw this film. And she had a very complex personal life, very complex situation, and I thought it was handled quite well. And, again, this is coming from Whitney Houston's own family. So I don't really know if you could say that, it's hard because, if that's going to be shared, that's up to really Whitney Houston, but, that she's not around anymore to okay it. But that's a big part of this film. I'd say it's like one of the biggest parts of the film. Also, Clive Davis, played by Stanley Tucci, who you see there, who also apparently is bisexual, which I did not know either. But he's presented in a very good light here. He's really doing a good job not only launching Whitney Houston's career, but being a partner and a friend to her. However, it was hard for me to like totally believe it because he's a producer on the movie. So I'm like, of course he comes across really well. And so I think on the plus side, you know, you felt this stuff was okay with Whitney Houston's family because they made it. But on the downside, you were like, well, do you really have the perspective? I mean, we want the biography to be fair, but, you know, I just couldn't take everything at face value because, especially Clive Davis' story, because he was telling it himself. You know, I'm like, especially because I know that a lot of performers have bad experiences with representation. I've never heard anything bad about Clive Davis, to be fair. But, you know, I don't know if it was just absolute. I mean, there's always a little bit of an edge there because, you know, that person, it's a business relationship. It's not a friendship. And so it rang a little untrue to me, just a slight bit. But I mean, so that's how I feel. But so as I said, I don't think this is necessarily worth seeing in theaters. And as for the music, some of you asked me about the music. I don't really think it focused on the music very much. That's another thing. One of the great things about Bohemian Rhapsody is it was like listening to a greatest hits of, Freddie Mercury. However, this movie, while it has some of the songs there, I don't really think it has, to my recollection, the full songs, and is really focused more on Whitney Houston as a person, which is fine because I like the business stuff. And also, they spent some time towards the end of the movie talking about that photo there at the top there of her is from her most famous, iconic performance, where she was able to like do certain things with holding notes and having more range than like any other singer ever to this day. Now, I don't know about singing very well, so to me, I couldn't really, that to me was not impressive, and I couldn't even really discern what they were talking about. But if you're into singing and you know all about voice and breath control and octaves and range, then you might really like that part of the movie. And also, because that's part of what made her so famous, that kind of ability, I'm glad they showcased it. But for me, it was, by the way, Sean, I just saw that now. That's so kind of you, Sean. Thank you, Sean Artis. But yeah, so I think that's like kind of the situation. So I would recommend watching this, especially again, if you're interested in the movie business or any kind of entertainment business, if you're interested in being in it. They say about history, those who don't learn it are doomed to repeat it. You see so much talent making the exact same mistakes in their personal life. And so maybe if they paid more attention to what mistakes other people made, they wouldn't make it themselves. So I do think it's worth, and if you're a Whitney Houston fan, I think it showcases intentionally a very different Whitney Houston. And so I'm not sure how her fans are going to react to that, to be honest with you. So we'll see. All right, let me catch up on questions here. James Gunn confirmed on Twitter replies he'll be actively doing and allowing Elseworld movies. Well, that would be him saving Suicide Squad and Harley. Let's see. Let's see here. Eric says, I meant act like Kevin and take charge. Well, Kevin Feige he's like lost a little bit of control too. Zaire McCall says, how do they handle her addiction? Very honestly, but I think respectfully. And they even talked about her death. They didn't show her death though, because again, as I said, they were respectful. But they were very clear about it. The way Whitney Houston interacted with her drug dealer was actually one of the most clever things I've ever seen. I was like, wow, who came up with that? That was brilliant. That one Moody guy says, Grace, what's your favorite song in the movie? As a Whitney Houston fan, I'm excited to hear the musical numbers. Well, I really like I Want to Dance with Somebody. I think that's incredible. I don't really like slow songs as much and ballads, and that was a lot of Whitney Houston's tracks. But I did like I Want to Dance with Somebody quite a bit. And I felt like they didn't do as much with it what I would have liked. Also, the music video for that looked so low budget, but it was. I mean, it was accurate as to how it looked. But, that's the time period when that was done. Heather S. says, these upcoming DC movies are DOA to me. I think so, Heather. Stanley Tucci's great. I like Mika saying, how's the Tucci? Tucci is great. Tucci's great, but I mean, he's always playing Stanley Tucci, in my opinion. Kevin Costner and Nacho Flores did not actually appear, although they did talk about him, and they cut some footage in from the movie with him, but they did not have anyone playing him. Let's see here. Stephen Turner says, wasn't Queen producers on Bohemian Rhapsody? I think they were like executive producers, but there were other people who were involved. And I think that Queen had a very difficult relationship with Freddie Mercury. So right there, you have a little bit of honesty as well. Hey, Jeffrey Lane, thanks for joining. Blazing 10 Spirit Halloween says, hey, Grace, I'm moving to Hollywood next summer to hopefully become an actor. Oh, good luck. Do you have any tips that I should know? I know it's risky, but it's my dream. I would say be very realistic. I just want to remind you that Harrison Ford was a carpenter in Hollywood for a decade before he got a big role. So you gotta be real, you gotta don't imagine yourself a movie star, imagine yourself a working actor. I also think one of the best pieces of advice I ever saw was when people get auditions, don't imagine yourself in the role, imagine yourself at the audition. You know, it's a numbers game, and sometimes you don't get a role not because of anything that you did, but you're just maybe not a good fit with it physically or some other reason. So what you really have, the goal that you should have beyond getting cast is making friends with the casting director. So that casting director keeps bringing you back. Like, for instance, Austin Butler got Elvis because I forget the name of the casting director, but she liked him so much, she was actively looking for a lead for him. She was doing that on her own. The casting director was. And she happened to take on Elvis. She was the casting director, and she said, let me bring in Austin. So that's important. I would also urge you not to be taken in by there's a lot of people who prey on actors. And so be very careful about anybody who promises you they're going to hook you up with somebody. Just be really, really savvy about that. Hey, Kirsten Dunst fan. I love it. Welcome back. Guy from Kings Highway says, Avatar 2 put DC, where'd that go? Put DC and Marvel to shame. I saw an article of people being depressed leaving because Pandora is so beautiful, and I agree. Aw, well, I really hope that DC and stuff use those things. I hope that DC and Marvel use 3D. I think I was really sold on it. Oh, some other great stories about actors here for you. Moving to Los Angeles. Jesse the Good Witch has a good one saying, Danny DeVito was rejected 204 times before he got his first job. Yeah, it's a business of rejection. If you can't take rejection, don't try and be an actor. You'll be rejected more, because, you'll get a ton of rejections, and then you just need one person. As Lady Gaga said, just one person needs to say yes to you. Nacho, I don't think I'm going to be reviewing Babylon. If I do, it'll be in a stream like this. I thought Elvis was okay, but, the more distance I get from Elvis, the more I feel that Elvis' movie was almost like a caricature. I didn't think it didn't have the weight. It was too much like cotton candy fluff. Hey, Kara. Anna Ruda says, why does the volume look so good in Avatar and so terrible on Disney+? Did they use the volume on Avatar? I also think this amount of time, that Marvel is rushed, as the VFX people have leaked. Christian says, what are you and your family's plans for Christmas? Any fun traditions outside of watching Die Hard? Lots of love from Chicago to you and yours. Oh, that's not anything what we're talking about, Christian, but I'll take a moment to answer it. And let me get on to the last story, and then You Can Ask Me Anything. Shasar, as for how Bobby Brown was portrayed, I thought they were very honest about Bobby Brown, both in terms of why Whitney Houston liked him and the problems that he had. He had significant problems, of course, as we all know. Holiday traditions. I made cookies last night with my family, and I burned my hand. Second time this year I've burned my hand. It really hurt once again. But yeah, so I do that, and it's a little bit hard because we usually have some Christmas traditions that we do, but this year not only is there still a lot of COVID in New York City, but it's so freaking cold, and it's going to rain on Thursday and Friday to boot. So it takes out a lot of days. So we're trying the best we can, but all that's important is to be together. I hope that you guys are all together with your loved ones as well. Itchy Elbow says, thoughts on Ray Fisher attacking Gunn? I think that automatic deleting on tweets was a problem. I don't think you should automatically delete your tweets. And I think every time Gunn brings it up, it's just a reminder of why he had to set his account to that. I think, you should just be responsible in your words. It's not like people can't take screen grabs. Before we were getting along, he said something awful about me, and even though it's going to self-delete, people still screen grabbed it, so it doesn't matter. So I think that the self-delete is not a good idea. But at the same time, I don't know. James Gunn didn't re-apologize or anything, so it was funny. Let's just see. Stephen Turner says, what are some of your other favorite biopic films? Love how subjective film is because I always prefer the Week in Life biopics like Spencer or Jackie. It's hard for me off the top of my head. Last year I really liked Being the Ricardos, which was a slice of life. It was just a week in their life, but I loved that. I thought that was a very good film. Danny Sanchin says, Merry Christmas to you and your family. Thank you, Danny. To you as well. All right, let's do the third one. Okay? All right, so third story, and then you can ask me anything you'd like. Boom, baby. I got graphics, baby. I got graphics. All right, so we're going to talk about Avatar 2's box office update. We'll, of course, be discussing this after Christmas Day on Monday. Movie Math will go up on Monday this week, as it will the following week, because these are such big movie-going days. To be fair, the 26th is a really big movie-going day as well. But I can't keep delaying Movie Math. I think Monday is enough of a delay. All right, so it's doing very well. So let me bring up these graphics. I love my graphics, baby. All right, I think this is the right one. Yes. All right, so this is Avatar's daily take so far. So on the 15th, on the Thursday night preview, that's why it's got a P there. That's preview. It did 17 million, and then that was rolled in, I believe, to the 53. So remember, Avatar opened to 134, and its Monday was very good at 16.2, and then it had a fabulous Tuesday. Remember, Tuesday is a discount day at most movie theaters. But it made more money because more people turned out. I guess that's very telling for a movie that's where the tickets are so expensive. You know, tickets are less expensive. Gavin, that's a wonderful Christmas vacation for you. And nice use of an emoji. But anyway, that makes sense, actually, that a number of people would say, I want to see this in premium 3D, but I'm going to go on Tuesday when tickets are half off. So it surged to 18.3, which is excellent. Oh, thanks, Haunted Autumn. Put this towards some oven mitts. Oh, because I burned my hand. That's so sweet of you. Thank you. So the reason, why do I have Star Wars here? Well, a lot of people, Mika, I think that they're discounted somewhat. I don't think they're discounted as much, but I think that they are cheaper. All right, so the reason I have Rogue One up there is that Rogue One, okay, let's see here. No, hey J Hugs, I think that the 17 is rolled into the 53. I think that's part, I'm not sure. All right, so let's see here. All right. So they said that it's performing like Rogue One, interestingly enough, which did get to 1 billion. So let's put up all these images. So there's the daily, and then that's the final box office for Rogue One. As you can see, it did 532 domestic, 523 overseas, for a total of a little over 1 billion. Now remember, that would mean that Avatar would pretty much only break even, if that, because the movie cost $460 million to make. Rogue One, which is considered one of the most expensive movies itself ever made, cost about $220, and that's so it's less than half of Avatar's box budget, and yet that's one of the most expensive movies of all time. Nacho, I wouldn't say that Avatar 2 flopped in China because they're having a horrible COVID issue over there, and so I think you have to remember that. I mean, they're rioting it so bad over there, so you have to just keep that in mind. All right, so here's the daily, all right? You've got very similar, although you can see that the Friday was much bigger for Rogue One. And it actually opened about 20 million more. Rogue One hit the 150. It hit the 150. I also have its weekends here. Well, we'll talk about the weekends in a second. So if Avatar 2 had opened 20 million more, it would have hit the target that everyone had for it. But anyway, you can see that once you get to the dailies, though, it's kind of performing very similar to Avatar. And you can see so that's interesting. But then when you get into the weekends, you can see that that Rogue One still did drop significantly, and it's interesting. Rogue One came out in 2016, where Christmas Eve and Christmas Day were also 2020. The 24th and the 25th were on Saturday, Sunday. So it's the exact same, and both opened on December 16th, the weekend before. So I think that's really cool. That's great about Patti LuPone, everybody. That's really wonderful. Patti LuPone, I think, is stunt casting. Let's see how it turns out. But that's very nice. All right, so I wonder if there'll become a musical now. But we're talking about Avatar. Let's see here. Leah says Avatar 2 and Top Gun. I'm a Maverick. Avatar 2's first Tuesday is larger. Currently, Avatar 2 is 8 million behind Top Gun Maverick at this point. That's very good analysis, Aaliyah. That's right. So it's but just an $8 million difference. So yeah, I still think there's a chance that Avatar could surpass Top Gun Maverick or come around right in the same space. Let's see how it goes. But I think Rogue One is an interesting comp. The only problem is that Rogue One was cheaper to make. And so I think that's that extra $240 million that James Cameron spent. It clearly, the idea is that he'll get more bang for his buck, right? If you let him have a huge budget, he'll be able to bring in close to $3 billion again. The first movie for initial release made $2.7 billion. But he's clearly not going to get anywhere near that this time. I think he's just trying to make sure he clears $1 billion. And therefore, Disney will only break even. Let's see here. Paul Brunel says, where would Avatar 2 have to end to truly be a success? I would put it, to really make me feel like it was a success, I'd have to put it at 1.7, 1.8. Even something around 1.4, 1.5, I feel like it's just turning a small profit. And it's so below the first movie. And on that note, you guys said something very interesting yesterday in my breakdown of my top 10 movies of the year. I was talking about how people were much more aggressive against The Woman King than they were Gladiator and Braveheart, even though that had many of the same really bad problems. And people pointed out that was a different time. Gladiator and Braveheart came out before people had social media and these conversations were able to take hold. And also when people, just were still fighting for any kind of representation. And so I think that the fighting, not the fighting, but, people taking a stand, let's say, has become more nuanced and, moved beyond just, put us in the movie. So I think that's very true, actually. And I wonder if this maybe is affecting Avatar, because it's a different time now. I think I've seen a number of people talking about the white savior issues with the movie, which I would totally agree with. I think that's a big problem. The first one did too. But, again, it's been over a decade. And so I think people are more keen to that and are more able to discuss it. And that message is able to spread more. I would also point to James Cameron's behavior. I think that kind of bad boy behavior was celebrated back in the day. But now it's considered toxic. And so he's not changing, and so I feel like that's a good sign for people who are trying to be Twitter warriors today. You can get to a point where you rub people the wrong way to such a degree that they can't get past it. I did see, a number of people are actively rooting against Avatar, not just because they're upset with Disney or because they're Team Marvel or Team DC and they don't want Avatar to win, but also because they're upset with James Cameron and some of the things that he said. So I think that that's a really important thing to point out. The diversity demos were strong. It did bring in a diverse audience, but I think these are hurdles that might hurt it in the long run. Let's see if there are any other questions about this before we move to asking everything that you would like. Tech Noir Video says, I'll be shocked if Avatar doesn't make $2.5 billion. That's a tall order. At the rate it's going, it would have to have like an almost zero drop. And that's what the first one did. The first one dropped just 2% in its second weekend. And if Avatar can do that, maybe we got something here. Hey, Michael C. I'll never forget the first Avatar, like huge lines, like a month after the movie had opened with people going to see it. Let's see here. Patrick points out that No Way Home got to $1 billion in like 11 days. Not seeing Avatar doing those numbers. Yeah, and also it's not going to, although it's going to be so cold, maybe people will go to the theater then. Matt Go points out that Braveheart was controversial at the time in the UK. Braden Duke says, hey Grace, not a member, but I love the BT's community. Then how are you able to write that? I'm telling everyone I know to go see Avatar 2. Zoe Saldana is so talented. That's great, Braden. Let's see here. Rodrigo says, I do recall the first Avatar staying in theaters for like 5 months, but streaming, I don't think that will happen. Rodrigo, that's an excellent point. That's another thing that's changed. More options, other things to go do. And the fact that the movie will come to streaming and eventually to Disney Plus at no extra cost. So I feel like that's not great. So any other comments about Avatar before we move to Ask Me Anything? Jeffrey feels it's definitely making $1 billion. I think probably too. I think it's making $1 billion. But I don't know how much more beyond that it will get. My gut right now says that it'll get to around Top Gun Maverick. Casey says this is one of only 2 movies I've ever walked out of. You walked out of Avatar too? Did I miss any other super chats here? I don't think that I did. I don't think I did. Let's see here. Caesar says, I just learned I made it to the semifinals of Emerging Comedy Writers. Ah, that's wonderful, Caesar. You're doing it. You're living. You're at least, I don't know if you're living the dream, but you're getting close. Ross says, aren't movies more front-loaded these days? People are trained to wait for streaming or go straight away. It's difficult, Ross. I think people are really waiting for premium screens, so I think that's a big part of it. As Tech Noir Video says, Avatar is a must-watch in cinemas. And I think, people are, not as much a rush. I think because, it's not that new. They saw the first Avatar. So let's see. I think we'll have a really clear window after New Year's weekend as to how this movie's really doing. Unless it just completely has the bottom fall out of it this weekend. Then we'll know earlier. Yeah, Faith in Films. I did realize because you guys pointed out that The Rock did seem to quote me with you win some, you lose some, but maybe great minds just think alike. I already says, may take on the Avatar sequel is the fact that the budget and visuals were not enough in a world where technology evolved from the first movie. Great cast, great visuals, but an okay story. I'm not quite sure what you're saying, iReady. Let's see here. Paul's Pork Chop says, I can't wait for the behind the scenes in Avatar 2. So awesome. I am curious how they filmed that. Pete says, you can super chat without being a member. What? That's fascinating. George Hernandez, that's a cheat that I didn't know about. George Hernandez says, would Black Adam have made more money if he was the villain of Shazam 2? Nope. I don't think it would have, to be honest with you. And then Tahuka says, yeah, first Avatar was in theaters till August. Yeah, it was a long time. It was incredible. Jay King says, how small of a second weekend drop would make you happy and what would make you worry? Anything below 10%. If it's single digits, I'll be like, you done it, Jimmy. You done it. And what would make me worried would be a traditional drop. Anything above, if it doesn't have a 4 in front of it, like, I think an okay, let's not panic drop would be, like an amazing drop would be under 10%. Anything between 49 and 10%, I'll be like, okay, maybe this is going to not work out, but let's see. But if it drops 50% or more, then it's just a regular movie, and it's going to be like Rogue One. Look at Rogue One. Rogue One dropped 58.7% in its second weekend, but it opened with 20 million more. So that would be problematic for the movie. Let's see here. Hey, Lone Wolf Media, welcome back. Amy Gibbs says, I'm 51 days sober. Wow, Amy, that is an incredible accomplishment. And I'm sure during the holidays, you have a lot of temptation. So that's just absolutely wonderful. I'm so happy for you. Actually watching Mom, the sitcom Mom, I thought really gave me a good look into AA. And I think it's a wonderful organization. I think that what it can do for people is really incredible. And I don't know if you're doing it with a group or by yourself, Amy, but that is truly a wonderful accomplishment. Keep going. Let's see here. Brad, that's so nice of you all to congratulate Amy. Brad says, oh, you're the best in the game, Grace. Thank you, Brad. Connor says, do you think they might expedite a director's cut, added scene version to boost box office? No, it's already over 3 hours long. I still think I might be able to get my dad to go with me, but he's like, how long is it again? And I'm like, we're going, Dad. Let's see here. Oh, that gay couple. Thank you. Hi. Patricia, welcome back, Diamond member. I already said I wanted to say that Avatar 2 is a beautiful movie, but not enough for me. That's true. I think anybody who watches Avatar not in 3D in theaters is going to be like, what? Braden, you joined. Hey, Braden, welcome. All right, let's go to Ask Me Anything, okay? So hold on. All right. Tech Noir Video says, prediction, second weekend Avatar will be 100+ million domestic. That would be incredible. Let's see. That would be amazing. You should try and force yourself to see Avatar. You don't have to do it before Christmas, but if you can see Avatar in theaters in 3D, go on a discount day. Just try and go. I think and see it in premium 3D. I think you'll be glad that you did. All right, it is 3:55. You can ask me anything you'd like until 4:05. Hey, Mando's Ace, have you seen the Oscars shortlist? know the Batman in score, and know all. I think it came out right before I went live. The Batman really did not do well with awards. I think it came out too early, and there's just too many blockbusters in the space. But very happy with the Batman and the other cat. Oh, wasn't other categories? Well, I have to look and see this short list. Kirsten Dunst says, is Grace Randolph a stage name? Nope, that's my name. Bradley Hutchinson says, love from Ireland, Grace. Happy Christmas. Happy Christmas to you, too. I hear Ireland is just incredible. I'd like to go to Ireland, actually. Katie Lady says, watch Barbie first, Oppenheimer second. Nolan's films should be given time to process afterwards. Do you know the runtime on Barbie or Oppenheimer? I don't know the runtime on either of those. I think it's going to be a very funny and interesting weekend. I didn't love the Oppenheimer trailer. I'm sorry I didn't get to react to it. Universal's a little bit difficult and just wasn't good timing. But I feel like it's still not clear what the movie's about, and it seems like, I think, a little bit overly intellectual. And I know some people, particularly Nolan fans, will be like, what are you talking about? That's a plus, Grace. But it's not a plus if it's hard to follow the movie. You know, I guess not intellectual, but it seems sometimes Nolan stuff to me comes across as pseudo-intellectual. You know, where he's like, oh, look how smart I am. And you're like, really? I think maybe you're just putting on a front. Because if, you know, a truly smart person could explain this in a way that I would understand. Let's just see how it does. Let's see. Hold on. Jander says, will you do more viewer call-in videos? I miss them. That was fun. Maybe we'll do some viewer call-in videos next week. Wow, who just did that? Smallville, that is incredibly kind and generous of you. I can't believe it. The live streams are always during my work hours. The only reason I'm not a member. Here's a super chat to say thank you for everything that you do. Have a Merry Christmas, Grace. Merry Christmas to you, too. Your guys' generosity just overwhelms me. Thank you so much. Amy Gibbs says, thanks to everybody. James Cameron will heart me. I've seen the movie 3 times already, says Max. That's wonderful, Max. That's impressive. That's the kind of repeat viewing James is looking for. James Alfred says, I think we need to remember that No Way Home level movies are rare. They're not, though. I don't think that they are. I think that Hollywood still has to pick up back to where they were. I think they're still affected by the pandemic. Eric says, do you think Robert is okay with having another Batman? Also, is Gunn really willing to risk to give people Batman fatigue? I don't, Robert Pattinson, when he signed on, there already was another Batman, and there was going to be 2 more Batman with Michael Keaton, too, and that's apparently still happening in the Flash movie, which is apparently still going to come out someday. I don't think Robert Pattinson cares because I think he knows right now. I think he's probably nervous as to who the new Batman might be. I'm sure he was like, I can take these guys. But, I mean, like, if James Gunn casts a new Batman, again, I told you, why would you do that to both of them? Dev Deneo, thank you, Dev, says I watched the Banshees of Inisherin today, and ironically, 30 minutes later, my best friend of 7 years unfriended me in a very painful way. Luckily for me, I've been watching BTC longer than I knew him. I'm grateful to everyone here. Oh, Dev, I'm so sorry that happened to you. I'm so sorry. It does hurt, and I think that the Banshees of Inisherin did a good. One of the reasons that movie is so hard to watch because it gets the emotions of that kind of betrayal and so right. But I think that just remember the wonderful speech that Colin Farrell gives in the movie about kindness. And just remember that. I think that to me is like one of the nicest things about that movie. But I didn't put it on my top 10 list of the year because it was just so difficult to watch. Patrick says, my first year on the channel, No Way Home brought me here. Yay! I love hearing the movies that brought you to this channel. My best friend Shane and I quote your videos every day. That's awesome, Patrick. Hey to Shane, too. Thank you for everything and happy holiday. You guys make me so happy. Let's see here. Ozzy G says, is Sunday counted towards box office weekend numbers? To me, Sunday is still the weekend, and Monday would make more sense to do reports. Ozzy, they're able to predict the box office for Sunday on Sunday morning based on viewership patterns and history, and they're almost always right. I mean, there's always off by like maybe $1 or $2 million. So that's box office reports come out on Sunday, and I made a decision a long time ago that even though that means I work on Sundays, I'm going to put out the box office report when box office reports go out. Hey, Verakai. That gay couple said was meant to send a message. Oh, that's great. Love you, Grace. My support goes to you. Do you think Oscars will make a change to Avatar 2 like most indies, I'm interested. What do you mean? Do you think Oscars will make a change to Avatar 2? I think it's going to do well with Oscar nominations, I would think. Maya Cake says, just saw Avatar. Had a good time. Hubby, not so much. I love that melting face emoji. Oh, that's hilarious. I love it when it's used correctly. That was a great use of it. That's fabulous. I'm sorry your husband didn't have a good time. He was very kind to sit next to you, though, for 4 hours and go see it. Josh says, I'm seeing Puss in Boots for the second time today. Oh, that's so great. I'm going to watch it again, too. I love that movie. I definitely want to watch it again. Michael C. says, came in a little late. Did we talk about James Gunn saying The Young Justice and Justice League Unlimited are both an inspiration for DCU? Love both series. I did not see him say that, but I think that's great. I told you I think James Gunn will probably draw inspiration, I thought, from video games, but if he also draws from animation, I mean, that would be good, but at the same time, I feel like the animation's lost a step, too, at the same time. Like, I don't think DC animation is what it once was, so it's tricky. See here. Where are we here? Fidel says, enjoy your holiday movie on me. Merry Christmas, Grace. Thank you, Fidel. That's so generous of you. The Brennan V says, Grace, oh my God, Patty LuPone is joining Coven of Chaos. Yes, somebody mentioned that. I think that's cool. Eddie Wu says, what movies are you the most excited for in 2023? I'm interested in Oppenheimer since they were filming on my campus earlier this year. That's always fun. I enjoy some movies about New York quite a bit because just for seeing the locations. I also am like, those things aren't anywhere near each other. You couldn't have gotten that fast. It's just so funny. Dancing Dog 60 says, Grace, how shocked would you be if Madam Web and Craven are actually good? I'd be super shocked. I'd be shocked. I'd be real shocked. Verikai88, welcome. I think there was something here that I didn't answer. Oh, Tom Barron says, did you get screeners for The Last of Us? If so, will you be reviewing it? Merry Christmas to you and your family from the Czech Republic. I love the Czech Republic. As many of you know, my relatives are from the Czech Republic. Like my distant relative, like long generations ago. But anyway, as I said recently, they're very selective on the screeners this time. I think because they have so much stuff leaked for House of the Dragon. So I did not get screeners, and I know a number of people who didn't get screeners. So, but I will be reviewing the show. I will be covering it. I'm going to see if there's an audience for covering it week to week. I mean, we'll see. Let's see here. Jay King says, Merry Christmas, Grace, and congratulations, Amy. I've been there myself, and I know how hard it can be. You can do it. Oh, that's so kind of you, Jay King, to share your own experiences. Verikai88 says, you think theaters should bring back intermissions? You know, I was talking to someone about that the other day, but they made a good point. And they said that, you know how long it would take for everybody to go to the snack stand in the bathroom from the whole theater emptying out at once and trying to get back in on time? And also, if they didn't get back in time, then the movie started without them, especially today. Can you imagine how much people would complain? So actually, I don't know if you could do intermissions. Jason Cameron says, well, Grace, you make $1 billion club prediction film. Grace. Will you make $1 billion club prediction film at the beginning of the year? Fascinating. Would you make another one in a couple of weeks? Oh, that's interesting. Maybe I'll do that. Hold on. Let me put my notes for things that I have to do. Where'd it go? There it is. I'll do that from one of my year-end videos. I'll do a 2023 box office preview. Sure hits. Hold on. I don't want to ruin how I'm going to do it. No, I'm excited. Okay, that's a great one. Thanks, Jason. I'll do that next week. Captain Marvel says, Grace, do you believe in the Superman curse? And do you... oh, that's funny. That's true. You got even Henry Cavill. And do you think that could be some of Henry Cavill's problems? That's interesting. Maybe. Henry Cavill should run with that. Juan Carlos says, I just started The Boys. Yeah, welcome to the party. Oh, let's see here. Rodrigo says, off to a meeting. Have a great holiday, Grace. Thanks for another amazing year and all the work you do for memberships and merchandise this year. Oh, it's my pleasure, Rodrigo. Have a great meeting. Galliot Prediction says, what's the new Avengers team? There was a leak that I felt looked pretty accurate, except I would add Moon Knight to that. Although we're very far out. Until they start filming, I wouldn't consider any Avengers team locked. Josh, it had a lot of women on it, though, I believe. I don't know. I like that Avengers team personally, But I will tell you that if that is the Avengers team, Kevin Feige hasn't learned shit. He's just tripling down. He's like, you guys can just complain forever. I don't care. Joshua Olin says, congratulations, Amy. You can do it. I believe in you. We'll be 5 years sober here, January 10th. Oh, that's wonderful. You guys are so inspiring. I love this. Let's see here, though. CJ said, what was the team? Okay, the team that I saw leaked and it was Sam Wilson, Captain America, Shang-Chi, She-Hulk, Captain Marvel, and Shuri, Black Panther. That's who it was. Eric Niebla says, sorry for the Batman comments. I just worried. He's my favorite character. You don't have to ever apologize, Eric. And I don't want him to be done dirty like Superman. Batman will never be done dirty. He's the most successful and he brings in the most money for Warner Brothers. Don't worry about it. Margie M says, hi, Grace. Do you think that James Gunn was truly surprised by the backlash? DC is a very rough place for talent and fans, so he shouldn't have been. I don't think he was surprised. I think he's surprised probably how fast his goodwill ran out with fans. I think he probably expected it to last a little bit longer. I think he felt he'd be a little bit more immune than your average studio executive, and he certainly has been. But I think he got people upset pretty quickly. And I think it's because he's being a little disingenuous. Let's see here. Haunted Autumn says, just a heads up, several chats got skipped before Jason. Oh, really? I'll go back and look. Maya Cake says, he ruined my day. Seeing you in BTT fan makes me feel so much better. What ruined your day? Happy holidays to everyone. IMAX, totally worth it. Can we call Avatar a tearjerker? Who ruined your day? Your husband ruined your day? I hope not, because you didn't like Avatar? Let me see if I missed any comments. I answered those questions about intermissions and... Oh, here are some. Frank W., welcome. Eric Niebla says, I still think Gunn will be the main Batman despite Gunn's comments. Pay attention to what they do, not what they say. Yep, I'm not going to be sure until they cast another Batman. I'm going to just assume that that's the Batman they're going with eventually. Emmanuel Zar says, just to say hi and happy holidays. Emmanuel, I always love seeing you in the comments and on Twitter. Happy holidays to you as well. Voice Inject says, Iceman versus Storm. Who would win in a snowball fight? I think Storm. Can she use other elements or can she only use snow? Because once she brings lightning into the picture, it's done. Heather just saw Puss in Boots and loved it. Oh, that's awesome. The gay couple says, do you think box office will be affected if it wins? If what wins? Please don't use it. Zay says, any Little Mermaid tea? Where's our first look? Yes, there is a teaser that's currently out that came out a couple of months ago. I'm not sure where it is. I would have thought they would have advertised it now. It should be coming very soon. Jay says, first the Minions. I'm just like, please don't release it on New Year's Day. Jay says, first the Minions put Lightyear to shame, and now Puss in Boots will do the same to Strange Worlds. Do better, Disney. Yeah, Disney has to step up its animation game for sure. And then Haunted Autumn says, since it's Ask Me Anything, what products do you use in your hair? I'm glad you think it looks good. I really struggle. I've tried very hard. I use a lot of Kiehl's. I lose a lot of Kiehl's on my hair. It's very stressful to be on camera every day. I know some people like to tease me, and I can take it, but I work really hard on it. It's difficult. Technoir Video says only 4 over 1 billion since 2019. Well, that's because of COVID. I'm glad I went back for that hair comment. Let's see here. Amy said something to everybody. Let's see here. Wanda the Witch says, I saw Avatar 2 in IMAX 3D last night and it was amazing, but there were so many people always getting up to go to the bathroom. I'm not surprised. Look at Amy. She says, thank you to everyone. I really needed a pick-me-up today. Merry Christmas to all. Thank you, Grace, for always being there for me, to joining the chats and movie news. Merry Christmas. Amy, I'm so happy that made your day even better. Wandering Seth says, today is the summer solstice for me and the winter solstice for you. This is my Christmas. So happy solstice, everyone. And then Tahuku says, Cavill fans praying Warhammer does well, but that universe is huge. Too huge for Cavill to direct alone or be in charge of. He's not a business creative guy. I mean, he might play video games, but that doesn't mean he knows anything about storytelling. Lisa says, Shuri is the least likely in that group to be an Avenger, especially since we still have Wanda. But I think not having Black Panther in there would be tough. So I think that's where they're coming from. Frank W. says, hi, Grace. I wanted to add cases in China are getting crazy. Everyone I know is getting COVID. It's a miracle people still want to see Avatar at all. Could have legs. Love your videos. Thank you, Frank. And thank you for that information about what's going on in China. Sean says, why did Harrison Ford join the MCU if he despises nerd fandom? For the money. He joined it for the money. I didn't even have to finish a question. Harrison Ford wanted to get paid, and he's getting paid. Lone Wolf Media says, any info on the Hulu Alien series? I think they're beginning to cast it, right? I already gifted 10 memberships. That's so kind of you. And then Bob says, it's been a weird year for me after losing my job in April. I'm sorry, Bob. I now have a much better job. Oh, yay! And adopted a new dog. That's wonderful. Turning 30 tomorrow and ready for some new adventures. Oh, way to stay positive, Bob. Merry Christmas, everyone. Just remember that famous saying, this too shall pass. You just got to keep your head above water. You never know what can happen, especially if you have a positive attitude. So good, so happy for you, Bob. Better job and a new dog? And you adopted the dog? I mean, you turned things around not just for yourself, but for that dog. That's incredible. Oh, J-Lo 1972 also gifted memberships. Very generous of you. And then Eric says, I hope Gunn does good by DC. If he fails, DC will die. I don't know if it'll die, but it'll have to take a long break. It'll have to be like Star Wars. And then Kirsten Dunst fan says, could Maggie Gyllenhaal, Katie Holmes, Cillian Murphy, or Christian Bale return in the Batman? The Batman 2. No. We already have Batman. It's a new Batman. Aw, thank you, Black Shy Guy. I love you too. Brody Rule says, will Gunn just hire his friends to direct for DC? We don't know yet. I'm a little nervous about it. I think we're all nervous about it. People are watching him very carefully, and it would be in his best interest to subvert expectations. I cannot stress that enough. Because as I said, if he doesn't do what we expect him to, I'll be so happy, it'll give him a ton of new capital to spend. Because we'll be like, he did live up to, he not only talks the talk, but he walks the walk. Stephen Turner says, I don't see the issue with the largely female lineup. Well, Stephen, that's because, you're more progressive than a lot of people. And I think, it would be wonderful if everybody was on the same page, but people are not. So I think you got to do like a 50-50 split at best. That's the most you can do. I think these days you can't really go too far in either direction. You can't have mostly men and you can't have mostly women. Voice Inject gifted 1 membership. That's very nice of you. Bye, Patrick. Lord Baratheon, I've poured so much Thunderbolts tea. I don't have any new tea. Katie Lady says, Grace makes me want to be kinder on Twitter. I'm sorry that you're getting attacked, Katie Lady. I would recommend blocking. There's a famous Lisa Vanderpump quote that I think is not only hilarious, but is true. She said, don't wrestle with pigs in the mud because you'll just get all covered in mud and they'll love it. That's a great quote. I miss you, Lisa Vanderpump. Talk about getting done dirty. Danny says, Star Wars took a really long break. It sure did, especially because all the recent movies they were supposed to make keep falling through. Oh, let's see here. That's very sweet of you to say that, Eric. Did you just gift 5 more memberships? That's so nice of you. Haunted Autumn says, this is for everyone in the chat. I love you all so much. I love that you guys are friends with each other, too. That's really great. We are really just such a nice community. I don't have any Ahsoka tea. Who keeps asking that? Keith, I'm sorry. I don't have any Ahsoka tea for you. I don't have any Fantastic Four tea. Somebody who's in the industry that I know who doesn't have any insider information, but just from their professional opinion said, it's probably going to take a little bit of time for Fantastic Four to come together, so don't hold your breath. Let's see here. Mika, I don't know about a Glass Onion prediction. It's either going to explode or people are going to be bitter that it didn't stay in theaters and they had to wait. Brian, that's so generous of you. Hi, Grace. I've been watching for many years but never catch live streams. I started my own company recently in my garage and now I get to watch. Hooray! Just wanted to say thanks for all the fun and joy your videos bring. That's so great. Hope you have a Merry, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you too, Brian. And congratulations on, taking the leap of starting your own business and being your own boss. That's an awesome thing to be able to do. And I'm really glad that it's working out. And you can set your own schedule. And I'm glad that part of the schedule is these streams. That makes me very happy. But congratulations. Here's to a successful 2023 for you. I'm trying, Gallia. It's my pleasure. James Alfred says, Are Are any of your sources? I can't tell you who my sources are, James. I'll never do that because I'll get people in trouble. CJ says Batman doesn't keep the lights on at Warner Brothers. It's a Big Bang Theory. When did Harley Quinn say that? When Harley Quinn has the right writing, she's fantastic. Agoraphoboy. That's a funny name. I'm glad you got gifted a membership. That's so awesome. Let's see. I'm way over my time, but let me just do a few more. Keith, I haven't started Bad Batch yet. I'm going to wait to watch non-Christmas things till after Christmas. Let's see here. Maidu says, Grace, would you ever direct your own film? I mean, never say never. Let's see here. Nishan, I don't have any news on Wanda recently, I'm afraid. Let's see here. Mika, I haven't heard about Echo being delayed from any of my own sources, so I don't feel comfortable commenting on it. Brody says, I'm calling it Tar is winning Best Picture. If they want to have the lowest ratings of all time, go ahead. Steve Music says, dang, I missed the whole thing. Falsey Jr. 71 says, first stream as a member. Oh, I'm so glad. Welcome to the party. Let's see here. Joy, I would be very happy with Everything Everywhere All at Once winning most things. If it wins Best Picture, I think that would be a good choice. Ian Grimm says, will you be seeing any Broadway shows this holiday? I do have some tickets for Broadway for 2023. I actually have 2 shows that I'm planning to see, but I'm not seeing anything during the holidays. Thanks, Zay. Alex, I've never been to the Czech Republic. I don't know if I'd ever want to go. I'm sure it's lovely, but I have other places I want to visit first. Elon Abadi, I do actually want to go to Ireland. And I got to go back to Disney World. That's like first on my list. Elon says, just came in, restarting the stream. Wish me luck. Thanks, Elon. Nice seeing you. Lord Baratheon says, are you going to review Bad Batch Season 2 in a similar way to how you reviewed Season 1? I'm definitely going to give a full review when the embargo lifts. I don't know if I'm going to go back to it. It depends how busy I am. Because, it's just so low interest. It's like Andor. Just so low interest. Jose loves BTT. Feliz Navidad to you as well, Jose. I was just listening to Feliz Navidad yesterday. It was such a great song. So lovely. Kirsten Dunst fan said, are you in the Christmas spirit or not feeling it? I'm totally feeling it. Very Christmassy. I always get a little bit stressed out at this time because I feel like Christmas is slipping through my fingers. Sim says, any news on Dune Part 2? I'm just excited to see how it looks. It would be great. It would be wonderful if it actually lived up and it turned into a franchise. We'll see, Brody. We'll see. Somebody accused me of not liking Tar because I was believing other people trashing it. Not true. I saw the trailers. I just personally don't think it looks good, and I don't want to sit through it. So, I have so little time. I have to schedule it very carefully because I cover comics, movies, streaming. Then I have a personal life somehow fit in there. I need to decompress occasionally, so I can stay on my toes. So I just don't I draw the line on some things I just don't want to watch. Let's see here. I'm like, you just can't, the idea that because I'm a critic, I would be forced to watch something that I really don't want to watch. I sat through Banshees of Inisherin. I paid my dues. Benjamin W. says, do you think there will be a release date changes for December 2023? It seems to only have Aquaman, which will be weird. Wonka was also in December 2023, though. That's pretty full. And also Dune. Thanksgiving is very big next year. So I think they're hoping those movies will play throughout the Christmas holiday. Oh, let's see here. Hold on. Gramos, thank you. Have you seen Yellowstone? It's so good. Like Succession meets Ozark meets Sopranos in the Wild West. It must be good. It's doing very well. This new show with Harrison Ford just really had a good debut. Merry Christmas to you too, Gramos. Love your streams. Thank you for all your hard work. My pleasure. It's hard for me to get into a new show. I think that's probably the only reason I'm not watching Yellowstone. And also, as again I said, I just have a lot of time. So sometimes I still have to watch The Bear. And I loved Mosquito Coast season 1, but I have not watched season 2 yet because I don't want to watch it during the holidays. Also, I didn't want to watch it week to week. I was like, I'm going to wait till I can binge this. Bradley Hutchinson says, if you visit Ireland, bring clothes for any weather. Thanks for the tip. Present Progressive. Thank you. I love the sticker you chose. And then Darwin Juarez, that's a great name, says, travel a lot for work. Your videos always make me feel right at home. I'm happy to go on the road with you. Happy holidays to you, Grace, and everybody in the BTT community. You guys rock. Let's see here. Danny, I don't have any assistants. Let's see here. Jeffrey Lane says, I wish I could see a 3-hour Superman movie. You might someday. Why is everyone talking about Peter Skarsgård? Oh, thanks, CJ. Kay Walton might try and watch Yellowstone. That's awesome. Denny, I liked The Patient too, but I didn't finish it. Hey, Justin Bocci. Thanks for joining. Zay says, hey, Grace, what videos are you planning for the next few days? I don't like to tell you, because then if they don't go up, you guys are disappointed, and then I feel really guilty. So some cool videos are coming. 2 tomorrow, and the spoiler review for Glass Onion on Friday. We don't, Alexander Skarsgård is Batman. We already have a Batman. It's Robert Pattinson. Francesca says, just made it. Are we doing Ask Me Anything? We are. I'll do like 5 more questions. Dandrick says, I missed my 1 month member chat. In essence, an unlimited pass holder for Alamo. Do the movies I go to count towards box office? I'm not sure how that works. It must work though. Because, I mean, maybe the theater pays the difference because you would be seeing a huge drop in box office. I mean, I guess maybe we are to some degree, but I would think that the trades would have brought that up. Thanks, Jack. I'm glad to do that for you. Josh Becker says, why didn't Britton Dalton as Loke do any press? Loak. I'm not sure why I didn't do any press. I thought that was really bizarre. Maybe they're saving him for round 2? It was weird. Thank you, Human Filth. I appreciate that. That's funny with your name to say we are your greatest advocates. That's very funny. Human Filth, I would love to someday hear the story behind your name because you've also got 666 in there. Let's see here. Present Progressive says, what will be your Christmas dinner? My parents' oven still isn't fixed. So it's going to be something that you don't bake in an oven. And we were going to maybe go out to a restaurant, but we have to eat outside because of COVID, but it's too cold. So I'm not sure what we're going to do. Right now, I think the last I heard where we were thinking spaghetti and meatballs, and I don't hate it. In fact, I like it. Let's see here. I think I got everything here. Justin, I said hello to. Haunted Autumn says, I've loved film criticism my entire life. I grew up in the era of Siskel and Ebert and Leonard Maltin. Just wanted to say thank you for being a modern critic who carries on. That's an incredibly kind thing to say, Haunted Autumn. I'm so honored that you feel that way. An Oakland Sir. Hello. That's a nice picture. I like that picture of you. That's a cool photo. All right. Maybe I'll break out my new glasses in the new year. I've been very scared to break out my new glasses. I was just thinking about it the other day. I was like, I paid a lot of money for these glasses. I should wear them. But I'm kind of scared. Lisa says we're doing prime rib for the first time. Oh, that's awesome. What are you guys having for Christmas dinner? We'll do that for the last thing. It's going to rain here in New York on New Year's Eve, so I don't know what I'm doing for New Year's Eve. Jonah Howard King. I'm drawing a blank as to who that is off the top of my head. So just tell me what you're having for Christmas dinner, and then I'm going to peace out. Lobster, Kay Walton. What a good idea. Lasagna. That's a good one, David Stoker. That's kind of similar to what I'm thinking of having. Francesca's having turkey. Thanks, Jeffrey Lane. I appreciate that. Pozzole? I don't even know what pozzole is. That sounds good. Let's see here. That's right, Keith. It is because of that teacher who didn't like my glasses. That stuff haunts you forever. Michael C. is having Puerto Rican roasted pork. That sounds delicious. Joshua Olin says family tradition, homemade pizza, and what is that? Is that a typo or something actually called Fru's potatoes? Raclette. Oh, this is interesting. Ezra's having raclette. There's a lot of stuff I haven't heard of before. Mexican food. Delicious. Human Filth is having Mexican food. Bombshell says, oh, Jonah Howard King from Little Mermaid. I have to get a better look at him. I'm not that familiar with his work. Reconstruction says, pizza. Wife is on deployment and it's just me and my daughter. Oh, that's so sweet. Well, thank you for your wife's service, and I hope she's safe. And that's wonderful that she's doing that for the country. And I think that is so cute that you're having a daddy and daughter Christmas. I think that's going to be so fun. I will tell you, every New Year's Eve, we have the same tradition. Although this year we might do macaroni and cheese. But we have pizza, a whole cheese pizza just for us, and watch Home Alone. So pizza is an excellent choice. Justin says, I just wanted to say, and I joined so I could say this, thank you so much for all your amazing work. You are always so accurate, and every single video is just so entertaining to watch. Aw, thank you, Justin, and I like your Spider-Man picture there. Biscuit and pasta, says Azen. Oh, that sounds good. Lots of carbs. I love it. It's Christmas. If you can't carb load on Christmas, when can you? Danny's having turkey and mashed potatoes. Bell Trailer says, lasagna if I don't get called into work. Snowstorms are a-coming. Oh, but you do, Bell. Let's see here. Someone said, Enrique says mix of Mexican and American food, tamales, and also turkey. Dancing Dog 60 says New Year's Eve doing Chinese food. I've done that. It's great for New Year's Eve. Let's see here. All to the Sting says, quick thank you for the movie math videos. I always look forward to those videos due to how informative they are. I'm so glad you feel that way. They've gotten very long, which makes them take up my entire Sunday now, but I'm having a good time with them, and I'm glad you guys are too. We're making you hungry, Gary? Rude Honey Badger says, ham with baked potatoes and vegetables, apple pie with ice cream for dessert. Oh, your family's eating good. That sounds delicious. Ryan Deloney says, just popping in to say happy holidays. You are a light to this world. Oh, wow, Ryan. Thank you so much. That's so kind of you. Zay is having Velveeta shells, chicken, and veggies. Oh, that sounds delicious, and I'm proud of you for adding the veggies in there. Dandrick says, I'm in Mexico with my wife's family. Tamales. P.S. Super appreciate and love your reporting. Thank you, Dandrix. All right, everybody sounds like you have a wonderful Christmas dinner. All right, I better get going. I stayed on way longer than I planned to because I was having so much fun talking to you. What did Dessert Night say? Oh, my goodness. Thank you, Dessert Night. I'm not sure what currency that is, but that is a very, very generous thing for you to do. It says, hi, Grace. I'm so glad you guys pointed out to me that I missed this. Hi, Grace. I feel very lonely sometimes and take long drives alone, and listening to your videos always makes me feel less lonely. All the BT community. So thank you for that. Oh, I don't celebrate Christmas, but Merry Christmas to you and everyone who does. What a touching note. I would have been aghast if I had missed that. What I want to say to you is that Hollywood and the media and just everybody can make it seem that feeling alone is something that doesn't happen to most people. And I think that can make feeling alone feel even worse because you feel it's why you and not other people. But I just want you to know that a lot of people feel alone. I often feel alone. And it's very hard because it's hard today, especially because there are less places to congregate. You don't have communities. You don't have communities in terms of like just the town. You don't have religious communities as much. And everybody's online, which is why I'm so grateful for these live streams. I mean, it took me a while to kind of understand the live stream. And I think part of it is this community and this interaction that we're able to have. And to reach out to each other. And you guys, I'm glad that I can do that for you, but I have to tell you that sometimes you help me. And when I feel lonely, these streams can pick me up. So I'm really glad that you are really focusing on your mental health, and then when you feel lonely, you do something about it. I'm really honored and moved that I am part of that solution. And I just want you to know, just keep putting one foot in front of the other. That's the most important thing. And just do stuff that makes you happy. So, and thank you for your generosity. And whatever you are, if you are celebrating anything, I hope that you have a good time there. What an incredible comment. I hope that everybody, I think you can see a really lovely, lot of nice comments there too, with other people chiming in. Just remember that it's, just remember, Desert Night, that it's nothing. If you're ever lonely, it's not a verdict on you, and you're certainly not the only one. And I wish, a lot of times people don't want to talk about mental health, my pleasure desert night. A lot of times people don't want to talk about mental health, and I think that one of the healthier things that have come out of social media is how important those discussions are at different levels. You know, I mean, certainly some people have much more serious issues that need to be addressed, but mental health is really important. And you know, there's nothing wrong with reaching out to somebody for help, or just to say hi. So anyway, thank you so much, everybody. I think that's a good note to end this stream on, and I will see you in a live stream after Christmas. We will be Joy. That's very good advice, Joy. Find empowerment in being alone. That's great advice, Joy. Hey, Just Nathan, welcome back. All right, so I love you guys. There will be videos up tomorrow and Friday, but the next live will be after Christmas Day. So Merry Christmas and enjoy your wonderful Christmas dinners. All right, bye everybody. Bye.